So how do I find such leverage? Well, first what I do is, of course, I open the yellow book. I think to myself, who am I looking for? And of course, I'm looking for the most influential I can get. Who is the most influential we can get? Who can pick up the phone, ladies and gentlemen, and say, I looked at your sheet. I think we can do something about it. When can you be here? And you'll be there. Only two can do that. When you're a patient or when you're a CPA client. In other words, either your physician can say that, knowing what your sheets shows, or your CPA. Now, I keep debating myself which one will be the first if you get the call from both. I know some people that are very stringent with their money, even when their health is concerned. So I don't know. But I bet you someone that paid Uncle Sam $250,000 last year will be there in half an hour. He knows what problem we're talking about. So what I do is, of course, I pull out the yellow pages because I knew no one else. I was living in Escondido. I make a list by name, find those that have their name. In other words, it's not a huge venture. It's just someone I can refer to. So it's Michael or Steve or whoever I can ask for. I make a list of those. Hi, welcome.
Oh, my name's Steve.
Yeah, you can sit over there.
Oh, I'll just sit over there.
Closest to me. You can really see every pore.
Yeah.
He's the only one that could watch me in HD. See? Does it? So I take a deep breath, as we're taught, because we're old school, in other words. All over the world, we were taught to pick up the phone and how to do it. So if you're old school, you know how to do it. If you're new school, you don't need to do it, but in a sense. But I knew, and I took a deep breath, and I called. And there was Steve answering. And I go, good afternoon, Steve. My name is Tibi Zohar. I'm looking for a good CPA to do business with. Have I reached the right place? I can hear a smile on the other side. I remember because it was the first call I made. I literally heard his smile. And you could hear the smile. And I hear him smile. And he says, sure you did. I said, well, whatever, I'll tell you in a second what I said. What happened with this one approach is as follows. About 50% of the calls that day I made appointments with. CPA offices in Escondido. I used to live in Escondido back then. 20%, after I wouldn't go into details, made the appointment as well. 50 made it immediately, 20 had some questions about it. It worked like clockwork until I hit the first gatekeeper. Now I made it a point to call it 4:30, you guys. I was that smart, even being Israeli. But sometimes they stay late. I don't know what happened. So I hit one of those. And she says, of course, she doesn't care about, the right place or anything else. She says, what is it about? And I got so confused, being tackled with that all of a sudden, that I told her the truth. It's about cooperation. And when I said it's about cooperation, what do you think, with my Israeli accent back then, and her being an assistant at a CPA office, heard? Right, exactly. She heard corporation. So she immediately moves, oh, sir, so when do you want to come in? And I was stunned. I made the appointment, and I go, oh, my gosh, these Californians, I'd hug every one of them. They love cooperation. Look at this. She immediately, when I got in front of the first CPA that happened with, he says to me, so what kind of a corporation do you have? I go, corporation? He says, well, you told my assistant that you have a corporation. I said, oh my gosh, I meant cooperation. I'm sorry, see my accent. But as long as I'm here, let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. Sure, he doesn't mind. Well, Steve, what would you charge me for a tax return? As a sole proprietor. Well, Steve says, on average, $400. I said, Steve, you know, if I could bring, instead of $400 a year, if I could bring $40,000, instead of a client, I'll be a partner in a sense. Would you like that? Well, Steve says, well, how can you do that? I said, well, Steve, see, I figure you're sitting on an oil field. Everyone's drilling around you on your field. Paying you nothing for it, do they? Now, you know where the oil is. You know the quantity, you know the quality. No one else does. I have the drilling companies. I have the gas stations. Everything's ready. How about you do 10% just by showing me where to drill? Introduce me to where to drill. I'll do 90%, Steve. I'll split 50 with you. Are those good numbers for a CPA? All I want to do, Steve, is work another shift on your machines at night while you sleep. I leave it neat and clean in the morning. You won't know I was here. And so the first day that I went out to my appointments, I saw, I don't know, about 5 CPAs. That was the first time I went out to the appointments that I just talked about. The second one, his name, it's okay.
Still in your Israeli time?
That's a Jewish Standard Time. Now, hey, if it was Bedouin time, 3 days later. I don't know, I'm late. Whoever knows what Bedouins are.
So nomads that live south of Jerusalem in the desert.
South of Jerusalem, exactly. Right. Yep. So, so the second meeting I have with the first bunch of CPAs, the second one ever, it was around July or August, I can't figure out now, of the year I came. After I had 10 breakdowns on the way to that, of course, not understanding where I'm going and not realizing anything what's going on around me. And I stumble upon this guy, and I have his permission to share more than his name, you'll see in a second, because he's so happy with what happened. And his name is John Betts. He's a CPA, 25 years, 28 years now, or maybe 30 by now, in Escondido. And you can write his name down, it's no biggie. And John says, sure. I've been thinking for a while to incorporate such a thing in my office. I heard that this could be, I thought it could be, you know, very beneficial to me, and I didn't want to do it myself. So, yeah, you seem like the right guy. Let's go. I was so stunned that this happened on the second appointment. I was totally confused. He caught me so unprepared that I said, you realize I've been here only 7 months. I kid you not, this is what he answered. He said, yes, I know, but you've been sent to me from Jerusalem. Very firm believer, very, very big faith. And then he told me the joke, which maybe some of you know. I'm not going to go through the joke. With someone with a flood staying on the roof, God sends him a helicopter or a ship or whatever. He wouldn't go on any of them and be saved because he's waiting for God to save him. So God says, well, I sent you this, this, and this. You didn't get on. So he says, I'm not going to wait for any of those. You're here. Let's go. Well, I'll have you know, when a CPA says, let's go, only 2 years and it'll happen. That was a joke. You're allowed. So when a CPA says, let's go, that means patience, normally.